Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast with Phil Graham. We help you master Facebook ads and give you an unfair advantage over your competition. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hey, what's up, podcast family? Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast, episode 289. I'm Phil Graham. Today, I'm going to be teaching you my Netflix Carousel method. This is so cool. I cannot wait to share it with you. Let me ask you a question, though. Why does Netflix do so well? Why do people binge watch shows on Netflix? I was thinking about that, and I came up with two main reasons. Number one, they love the content of the shows. And number two, because of curiosity. Typically, when it's a series, each episode builds on the previous episode, and there's cliffhangers. And so they feel like they have to keep watching. So why can't we create Facebook ads that essentially do the same thing? Let's get people to binge watch our ads because they're not just going to be spammy sales pitch ads. So I was thinking about how can I replicate this type of idea when it comes to Facebook ads? And I've done it. I've actually done it for a long time when it comes to regular ads, but I came up with a carousel idea that replicates it perfectly, and it's worked so well. I'm really excited to share it with you guys in this episode. Can you guys believe that here in the US, it's Thanksgiving this week? It's crazy. The year is going by so fast, but I love it. And I do love the holidays. It's colder here in Seattle, and it's just a lot of fun. Are you guys ready for the holidays? I'm just curious. I'll tell you what, this is the time to be putting your foot on the gas and leveraging the opportunity for the time that we're in. It boggles my mind how many advertisers either wait to start advertising until like early next year, or they reduce their advertising this time of year. It's crazy. Now, if you're not e-commerce, you might think it's a good time to wait. And I would actually say it's the opposite, because a lot of foolish advertisers put it off. That's actually a huge opportunity for the smart ones who don't put it off, who actually leverage the time we're in, because during the holidays, people typically spend more time on their devices. So whether you're e-commerce or a local business or a service business or an agency, no matter what type of business you are, this is a great time to be leveraging that attention that you can get, especially if your competitors are either not leveraging it at all, or if they're not good at leveraging it. So you are in the right place, my friends. And by the way, if you are looking for some one-on-one coaching so you can finally learn ads the right way, or if you'd actually like somebody to run your ads for you, somebody you can trust so you can focus on doing what you do best, for either one of those things, you can connect with me by going to my website, philgrahamdigital.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and I would love to connect with you. So let's jump in and let's talk about my Netflix carousel method. So like I said earlier, I've actually been doing this method with regular ads for quite a while. But when I was thinking about the carousel type of ad, I thought this could actually be really good because each carousel card could be like its own little episode of a show, of a series. And so what I did was I started doing some testing, and I created some carousels, and it just blew my mind how cool it was, how great it was. I'm going to be teaching you my 5 carousel card types that I use for this. And here's the cool thing. Each carousel, each card of the carousel is going to have a little tease of curiosity at the end to entice people to look at the next card in your carousel ad. We want them to see all 5. Just like when you're watching a series of episodes, you want to watch the next episode. In fact, that's why people binge watch Netflix so much, because the episodes are usually really good, and at the end there's some kind of cliffhanger where it's like, I don't want to wait, I got to see the next episode right now. We want your ads to be like that. At the end of each one of these carousel cards, whether it's video or text or both, you should have something that teases what's going to be in the next card. And a question is usually what works best. When you ask people questions, they internalize it when they read it or hear it or see it. And that usually, especially if it's like a curiosity type of question, that can really work great to get somebody to make sure and look at the next card in your carousel ad. These carousels are not random. What's in these cards are very specific. So carousel number 1 is going to be the hook. You should always have a hook at the beginning of your ad. And so with carousel card 1, the whole card is going to be a hook. That's what it's for. You're not going to be giving an offer or talking about features and benefits. You're going to be hooking people and getting their attention so they want to keep engaging with your ad and move on to the next card in your carousel. And whether that's clicking or swiping, we want them to go to the next one and the next one, just like watching every episode on Netflix. So when you create your hook, you want to do a couple different things. You're either going to have an image or a video. And so regardless if it's an image or if it's a video, it's going to be a thumbnail. But regardless of what that is, you want that to stand out. It's got to be something that does not look like everything else that people see on Facebook and Instagram. It's got to stand out and grab their attention. And then also, the other part of your hook is not just how something looks, but it's by what you say. So if you're using like a video, what you say in the video is going to be the hook, but also the text in your ad in that first carousel card is also going to be part of the hook. So you want to have a hook in your video and in your text. Or if you have your image, then it's going to be in the image and the text, and it's also going to be in the headline. So the entire card is your hook. And this first card, it's like a first episode of a series. There's 2 goals. Number 1, get their attention. And number 2, generate a lot of curiosity so they want to watch what's next. And in this case, it could be move on to what's next, which is your next carousel card. So as an example, here's something I could use in my situation for a hook. I could talk about how one day I emailed billionaire Mark Cuban and I asked him a question. And he actually replied to me really quickly, which surprised me. And what he said changed how I run my business forever. Now, that is a great example of a hook because that's going to bring a lot of curiosity, and anybody who's interested in running a successful business would probably feel like they need to know what that is. And by the way, it's true. That's a really good example of a hook that I could use in the first carousel card. Now, in this example, I wouldn't actually share what he told me in the first card. That would be the next card. That's like the cliffhanger to get them to want to see the next card of my carousel ad. Now, for you, it may be completely different. If you're teaching something like I do, this is really easy, but it can also be easy if you're doing other things. It's just different. Other versions of hooks besides teaching something and generating curiosity with that would be inspiring people or creating some fun or helping somebody stand out, or it could be something emotional. Like there's so many different ways to create hooks for every type of business. So it doesn't matter if you're teaching or you're an agency or you're an e-commerce business selling apparel or clothing, or you're a local business. There's always ways that you can create hooks that generate either curiosity or value or emotion or a combination of those. So people want to keep engaging with you. So your first card is the hook, and then you're generating curiosity. So they'll look at the next card, they'll swipe or click to see what's next. Carousel number 2, and really it's card number 2. It's one carousel, but card number 2 of the carousel is going to be, after the hook in number 1, number 2 is going to be the story, the differentiation, and empathy that you have. So this card is where you connect with your audience by talking about and starting with where they are at right now as it relates to whatever you sell, whether it's a product or service. Where are they at right now? Where can you take them? How do you differ from other options that are out there? And how does that difference benefit them? And you definitely want to show and display some empathy so they know you understand where they're at right now. This is a really important card of your carousel. You've got to have a story. The old, from the 1920s, hook, story, offer. The story is really important and it needs to be true. It could be done in text, it could be done in video, or a combination of both. But you got to connect with people because it's so important. So, for example, how I could use it in my situation is I could talk about how I created a $1 million business from scratch. However, I know how frustrating it can be when you're not getting the results you want to get along the way, because I've been there. It wasn't always this way. I've gone through that struggle, and it's just as important to talk about the struggle as it is the success, because anybody who's not at where they want to be right now is probably struggling to get there. That's normal. That's life. That's what happens. So you've got to meet them at their struggle. Now, that's an example of what I might say to help somebody. But let's say you're not helping somebody make more money or grow a business, your e-commerce or another type of business. You can still tell your story and differentiate in your own way and show empathy with where they're at. I'll give you an example. For an e-commerce company I was working with, so they sold clothing, and still do for that matter, they sell clothing to people that do not want to fit in. They want to actually stand out and get noticed. They're tired of fitting in. And that was a great angle. And so we were able to tell that story and connect with people in the ad copy and talk about how we don't want you to have to just wear what everybody else is wearing and essentially just be overlooked, because that's what happens to a lot of people. They feel that way. And when they put on these clothes that are completely different, that really help you stand out, it can change how they look and feel. And so we connected with them on that level. It wasn't just, hey, you should buy this because it looks different. We talked about the emotions and we really dug into why they're probably wanting this type of clothing. So that's just another example. I'll tell you what, I don't care what kind of business you have, there's always a great story and differentiation that you can use. So you got to just be creative. Sometimes I have to help clients figure this out, and other times they already know what it is. But no matter what, don't listen to this and think that you can't do this because you have a X, Y, or Z type of business. Every type of business can make this happen without a doubt. So in this second carousel card, you're going to talk a little bit about the story, the differentiation, and empathy. And again, this could be something you're saying in video, or it could be what you're saying in the text part of the ad. And don't forget, in this card, just like the previous card, you want to tease at the end what's coming next. And so the next carousel card, number 3, is going to be value. So our first card, we hooked them. Our second card, we shared a story of some kind, some differentiation, and some empathy for where they're at right now. And then our card number 3 is going to be value. We're going to give them some kind of value in this card number 3. The kind of value you give is going to differ depending on what kind of business you are and whether you sell products or services. But it could be educating somebody. It could be entertaining them. Could be inspiring them. There's a lot of different ways to give value. And I've talked about that in previous episodes. But you want to figure out for you, what is your primary way of giving value? How do you help people? And then you want to communicate that really effectively in this carousel card. And that's really important. Like for me, I teach people and help people definitely avoid scammers and how to grow their business through running ads. And there's so many ways that you can give value besides just teaching. Like I said, you can inspire people, you can create excitement, you can give people hope, you can help people fit in or stand out more. You can be a distraction for people if you're like an entertainment type of product. You can talk about the joy of giving somebody a gift. You could dig into like emotions. Like there's so many ways to give value. So make sure that you find the one that's best for you and you have it in this third carousel card so that it really stands out. And then don't forget, you want to tease the next card. And then card number 4 is the offer. So we got the hook, the story, the value, and now we have the offer. This is where you're actually going to be offering and selling something in this carousel ad. You're going to have a clear call to action, whether you're selling something or inviting somebody to a webinar or whatever the case may be, whether it's a lead magnet, a webinar, or a sale. This is where you're going to do it. You want it to be super clear, and you want to also have a sense of urgency if you can. Some kind of sense of urgency to get them to actually want to do this now versus putting it off. Because a lot of times, if people put things off, they never get back to it. So create some kind of sense of urgency. So have a really good offer in card number 4 of this carousel ad. And last but not least, card number 5 is credibility. So after we have started with a hook and then the story differentiation and empathy, and then the value, and then the offer, credibility is what we finished it off with because that is really important. So in this carousel card, you're going to demonstrate or show some type of credibility. So that could be one thing or a combination of things. You could talk about the experience you have. You could share a customer or client testimonial. You could share or show reviews. You could do a combination of those things or more, but you definitely want to establish your credibility in this last carousel card. So try this. This method works extremely well. It's got all the elements that make people binge watch Netflix shows. Why not make them binge watch your ads? How cool is that, right? Instead of just spamming people, this is a great way to go about it. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you want to get in touch, philgrahamdigital.com is my website, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital. Episode 289 is in the books. I will talk to you on the next episode. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this with all your friends. For show notes, more tips, and to learn more about Phil, please visit philgrahamdigital.com/podcast.